Hello, 大家好. Welcome to a wonderful workshop hosted by I'm Building. Thank you to Cindy for making this happen. Thank you to Blocto for helping sponsor this. My name is Edward, and I help lead growth strategy at the Pyth Network. Today, I'm here to talk to you about your DeFi applications and how Pyth price feeds can help power and secure your operation. Undoubtedly, many of you are here because you're interested in building DeFi. The future of finance will be on-chain, and that's a wonderful and ambitious goal to have. We're here to help support that. You probably noticed along your journey that blockchains and smart contracts aren't quite that smart. In fact, they're kind of dumb in the sense that they can't read the real world. If there's some event happening in the financial markets or the world in general, the smart contract can't read it because the blockchain only holds stake as a decentralized database. How then can we bring all these real world events and data to the smart contract in a way that's both trustless and reliable? Well, that's the Oracle problem. And a number of providers have found solutions to this. You specifically will need a solution for DeFi. You need to bring financial prices, including the prices of Bitcoin, of gold, of oil, and other assets on chain. If you're building perpetual futures, for example, you need a way to calculate the funding rate based on the underlying. If you're building lending, you need to calculate users' deposits in real time so your protocol doesn't accrue bad debt. If you're building on-chain options or structured products, you need to make sure that your payouts are calculated at the right price at the historical point in time. What then are your options? There's a few. One general category would be to go out there and find an API, for example, to a centralized exchange, or to get an aggregate from a number of DEXs and to bring that to your smart contract, basically a homebrew solution. This works for a few cases, but what ends up happening is you become dependent on the quality and idiosyncrasies of that specific source. As you've seen in the past, centralized exchanges can, for example, can suspend withdrawals or even suspend deposits. That causes artificial changes in the prices, which will then be passed downstream to your users, which is not great. You need a solution that reflects what's happening across global markets. The other solution then may be to do something like what Maker and Compound has done, build your own Oracle. However, there's a caveat to doing this. It's a very big lift. You have to be responsible for both the overhead, the monitoring of the quality of this Oracle that you built. You're responsible for what happens to your users downstream. It's just a very expensive and involved process. It doesn't work for everyone. That's why there are third-party providers for Oracle services, like the Pyth Network, but also Switchboard, API3, Redstone, UMA, and of course Chainlink, who specialize in financial data. A Pyth Network gives a very unique approach to financial data that I hope I can convince you is probably necessary for your DeFi application. First and foremost, you need to make sure that you're offering the markets that your users want. Most of the time, that's going to be within crypto. Well, I'm very proud to announce that the Pyth Network supports more than 400, in fact, almost 450 real-time price feeds, mostly within digital assets, but also some across other major asset classes. For example, we are the only Oracle that provides real-time data for US equities and ETFs like SPY and QQQ. And trust me, you're not getting that data anywhere else unless you go to Bloomberg. We also do foreign exchange pairs like JPY, Hong Kong dollar, USD, Canadian dollar, euro. This is great for people who want to build things like point of sale for Web 2 or Web 3 services. We also do commodities, gold, silver, other hot markets in the TradFi realm. In other words, in the future, the Pyth community may also effectively bring on oil, natural gas, agriculture, and other very exotic assets to the feeds. So that is a very big plus. The other plus of using Pyth is that no matter where you choose to build, whether it's in EVM, Cosmos, the Rust ecosystem, or even Move, we have you covered because all 450 of those price feeds are actually available on that chain. Furthermore, Pyth prices are super fast. Pyth updates its prices every 400 milliseconds. It's more than twice a second. So we're coming to speeds very close to what you might expect in TradFi in the real world, which is a very good thing for DeFi. Furthermore, Pyth specializes in what we call first-party data, meaning there's financial data out there in the real world from exchanges, market makers, trading firms. We get that data directly from those sources as opposed to downstream public internet resources that might abstract or lower the quality of that data. I'll get to more of that in a second, but I also want to point out the fact that these wonderful data providers, all 95 of them, institutions and DEXs, They provide not just the price data, but also supplementary data. So if you want to know just how volatile certain markets are in certain periods of time, Pyth Network can provide you that data too, in the form of a confidence interval around the price. Lastly, all of this is transparent and happens on chain. So your users can rest assured that all this is trustless and not tampered with. So let's get into let's do a deep dive in the architecture. What makes Pyth data so special to begin with? I mentioned earlier that we get data directly from the source. What does that mean? What this means is legacy Oracle solutions, right? Other Oracles in the past. They grab the data kind of from wherever they can. CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, Yahoo Finance, public resources where they can incentivize networks of nodes to go out there, fetch that data, perform consensus among each other, and bring it on a chain. Now, this works for a number of use cases like weather or sports, and that's fine, but it's not good enough for financial data because as you play this game of telephone and bring that data down, you're introducing more time per hop, you're introducing more costs per hop, and it's not a very good solution overall. Furthermore, these data sources upstream, you can't necessarily hold them accountable if it's free data, and you don't necessarily have the distribution rights to even give that to all your users, right? It's not a very scalable solution. When you look at the Pyth network, I think a great way to think about it is the Spotify of market data. We stream market data from where it happens. What is the price of an asset? Well, surely it's someone's willingness to pay for it or a past precedent transaction. Well, this is what happens on a venue like Binance or the Chicago Board Options Exchange. And this is what happens with a market maker like Jane Street, Susquehanna, Two Sigma, Virtue, right? More than 95 of these institutional, as well as decentralized names like Orca and Radium and more, bring their wonderful data to the Pyth network. The real magic happens on chain. For something like, let's say, Bitcoin USD, where it's there's up to, for Juke, there's 17 data providers, Bitcoin up to 64 data providers providing their belief on what they think the price of that asset is every 400 milliseconds on chain. What I was saying was so fire, well, stay safe out there. The way we give safety to downstream users of Pyth is that by aggregating so much data from multiple data providers per product, in this case, BTC USD, we remove any deliberate or malicious outliers from the aggregate. We give you a very clean stream of data that represents a global snapshot of the price for that market. If you look at the bottom right, in the screenshot, look how granular that data is, right? It's very representative of what you might see on Refinitiv or Bloomberg or another premium data terminal. Real-time price action for your DeFi application, right? This is cutting-edge DeFi right here. You'll also notice that the median price point is this purple line. We also tell you with the white line when markets are getting more certain in the band narrows, or when there's a lot of volatility and craziness happening in the markets, dislocations across different venues. That's when the band widens. This is great stuff for perps and lending protocols who want to keep their users and their funds safe. Next, let's talk about difference in delivery. Pyth network is also different in how we get the data to you. And this is going to be very important for the builders among you right now. Legacy oracles work as a push oracle. They push price updates on chain at a set frequency, maybe every 30 minutes, maybe every 1 hour, maybe once every 24 hours. And trust me, that's a real model. This is not great for a number of reasons. First and foremost, because you can't have DeFi apps only updating in these irregular frequencies, right? Some oracles offer what's called a heartbeat model, meaning if the price off-chain deviates by a certain threshold, it will update forcibly. But this is not very scalable either. It's not scalable because every single price update pushed on chain has to be paid for. Someone has to pay for the gas. It's either going to be you, your users, or your blockchain foundation via a subsidy. This is a very common practice now, and it's simply not scalable for serious about bringing DeFi to 1 billion users. Pyth innovates by bringing what we call a pull oracle model. We empower you, the application in the protocol, to request and pull data from the Pyth network only when you need it, meaning you only pay the gas fee and the relay fee when you need that data point. This is much more efficient and much more, it's much less wasteful because you don't have price updates being pushed on chain that no one uses. You're using 100% of the price updates you request. Now, I'm not gonna get too much in the details, but the reason Pyth network makes this possible is because we're not just an oracle. The Pyth network is its own layer 1 application chain. That's right. Pyth network is a blockchain. We are a proof of authority chain based on the Solana code base. In fact, we're a Solana virtual machine. We're a fork of Solana. What happens is all 95 of these wonderful data providers, they run a validator on the PythNet app chain, and they give us as messages their price updates for every single asset they want to contribute to, every 400 milliseconds, every Solana slot, and they're not competing with NFT mints or other crazy stuff happening on chain. This is great because then the Pyth program on PythNet aggregates all that data for you. So it's nice, clean, stable, and robust. And we stream it to Wormhole. Wormhole then does the magic of making sure every price update is signed and verifiably from PythNet, not tampered with. All those prices stream to Wormhole. In the meanwhile, this is you. Actually, this is your user, the smiley face, but this is you. Your user is probably going to invoke a transaction on your protocol. What happens in the background is, first, that transaction is crafted to query a signed price update from Wormhole through an API called Hermes. There's many providers for Hermes, don't worry. Then they talk to the Pyth contract on your native chain. You pay the Pyth contract a little bit of a fee, a very tiny fee for the gas and for relaying. And the Pyth contract takes that query price, signed price update, and posts it on chain for you and all your neighbors on that blockchain to use. It's a super elegant model. And what I love about this is all of this is happening in the center. That is the PythNet application protocol. And what happens is all of the world, all of the data providers, the creators and owners of valuable data can come to this decentralized marketplace that is the Pyth Network and contribute all the wonderful data. They do so in expectation for on-chain rewards in the future. You guys on the right side are the demand side of the market. You can demand and consume all the data feeds that you want or request more from the data provider community. And you can do so in such a way that no matter what chain you're on, no matter where you choose to build, you can see how easy it is for everyone to connect to this one hub and spoke model of the Pyth Network, the PythNet application chain in the center. Furthermore, the entirety of the world, whether it's on-chain or off-chain, can come to the consumer or to the supply side and contribute their data. This empire can easily span and serve everyone in the world who wants to use DeFi and bring all the world's financial data on-chain. That's the end goal, and that's the vision. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope this has been elucidating. I'm going to leave this up, so if anyone wants to take a photo, go ahead. But please do check out the developer docs and our YouTube tutorial videos on how to integrate with Pyth on any blockchain. Thank you.
Thanks.
I went through a lot of concepts very fast, but Q&A. If you have any questions in English or if Cindy can help me translate for Chinese, more than happy to answer.
I had a early one from the beginning when you were mentioning how you think about from internal workload. What would be, you mentioned the concept and that's very expensive, but what are the benefits of doing something like that?
The benefits are unique to the use case. For Maker, they need a way to value sort of the collateral that is that backs their stablecoin, right? So they have very unique requirements when it comes to accuracy of the data they're getting. That's kind of my guess. So by controlling that part of the stack, they just have absolute granular control. They don't need to talk to another team. They own it. It's in-house. But not necessarily recommended for all teams out there. Any other questions? I'm happy to go over anything that I talked about. I know that was very fast.
Just being as this protocol.
That's a good question. So governance is going to determine a lot of this, but here's an idea from me as a person, from the Pyth Data Association, but also individually. So every time your user uses your application and does a transaction, that transaction needs a price. So your application will talk to Wormhole and talk to PythNet and talk to the Pyth contract. When it does that, we charge a very small fee. So we charge a fee for every Oracle update. Every month, Pyth receives, I think, between 4 to 10 million price updates, depending on volume. So let's do some very bad math. Let's say in the future, governance votes that every price update on Pyth will cost 1 USDC or 1 Pyth token, right? 1 Pyth token times 10 million updates per month. That is, in theory, on-chain revenue. So Pyth Network already earns on-chain revenue, but the revenue just sits on-chain. We don't do anything with it, and it's not a lot. In the future, though, if you own Pyth tokens, you stake them to vote, you will have a direct say of what happens to that revenue. And maybe you want to have a say because if you use Pyth data, this is going to matter for you. So definitely think about that. Good question.
有哪些协议正在用 Pyth？我看每个月都是50到80 Solana 的 contribution 的那种gas fee on Pyth Network。
That's a good question too. So who are the users of the Pyth network? Do I have a slide for this? I do not. So Solana's a bit different. On Solana, we run an older model. Well, let's ignore Solana, right? On every other chain except Solana, who are we serving? I think one of our biggest users would be the Synthetics ecosystem. So Synthetics backend uses Pyth as their primary oracles for their perps v2 and for their upcoming perps v3. Because Synthetics is using Pyth, so does Polynomial Finance, so does Quenta, and so does Lyra Finance, and basically the entirety of the Synthetics ecosystem. We also are very active in Arbitrum, Cap Finance, Vita Exchange. Sometimes an application will use us for just data analytics. So Wombat on BNB chain, Hashflow on Ethereum, Ribbon Finance, who also rebranded to Avo. They also use Pyth data for their on-chain options. So a lot of people from many different chains. I hope that helps. Yeah, you guys deserve to see the price feeds in action. Thank you.
It's, yeah, that Google Meet.
Okay. So I let this run in the background for a bit. This is the Jupe USD feed on the Pyth website. If you go to pyth.network, you can find all the price feeds. You can see how quickly this is updated, right? Boom, boom, boom. Everything is a price update. This is Jupiter USD. The confidence is very tight. The bands are very tight. We're very happy with this because we launched Jupe USD 1 hour after Jupe launch. That's great because that means once the spot market is open, 1 hour later, all your favorite perps markets on Solana, but also every other blockchain that we support is active. So we really want this to be the new standard for DeFi. If a new market launches, it needs to be on every chain immediately, no questions asked. That's what we believe the new industry standard is.
Trading view 怎么跟人拿资料？
Oh, that's a good question. So if you go on TradingView, you can actually make Pyth Network one of the price sources for that UI, but they keep changing their thing, so I can't find it. Anyways, so you're building an application, you probably want a price chart to show your users, right? Like you want candle bars. We offer a TradingView integration where you can have TradingView candles on your UI. This is cool because now users can look at the prices. Those prices will match the trades they actually do if you're using Pyth prices, which is great. This was very hard in the past. A lot of times in the past, an application would have like prices that don't match the trading instruction. It was not great. But yeah, we can give you trading view candles. All right, no further questions. Thank you again, everyone.
Hello everyone, I'm Ivan and I'm from SETS community, a multi-chain community. We lots of community members talk about any other chains, including we used to include Solana, Aptos, Pawn and Sui, but now we have injected. We are also going behind the road of Pyth, going multi-chain. So I'm going to talk about tokenomics, sometimes nothing, sometimes everything. So first, I'll say something about tokenomics is the definitions. The definition of tokenomics is the two words combining token and economy. So it's talking about the economic structure of crypto tokens, including the supply, distribution, utility, and even stability. Also, what's the value of this metric is tokenomics includes so many stuff inside, even supply and demands within the active ecosystem. So if people know tokenomics, they can know what the supply and demands will go, and behind this, they will know what's the potential price or potential things that will grow with their token. I want to talk about a small thing about good old days where there's two kinds of stuff called coins and tokens, which coins are usually Bitcoin and Ethereum in the POW old days. They are work as a native tokens on blockchains. So they are used for buy and sell and storage value only, because they don't have very complicated economy and very complicated unlock schedule, anything. And tokens, on the other hand, they are created by smart contract. So they are an asset. They can stake in project, they have voting rights, and they have more things to do than coins. That's why we want Ethereum to tokens, because tokens are created by security, created by smart contract, and coins are issued by blockchain. And why is it important for us to know tokenomics? Because as a community members for lots of years, the most thing we do are only buy and sell tokens, and testing out new protocols. So holding the tokens is very important for us, and we need to know on the investment side on why we should hold or why we should buy a token. Sometimes it's usually because of gas fee. People buy Ethereum, buy Solana, buy all kinds of tokens because of their gas fee. The other part is because sometimes you want to play the game in GameFi, or in roughly only GameFi, or in some Ponzi. And the other part is if we know the tokenomics of a coin, we can know it's the risk management for our whole portfolio. Like if we have all the coins that are very inflationary, then it's very dangerous for us. So I'm going to talk about the 5 parts about the key components of tokenomics. The first part is supply. Supply is a main focus on tokenomics because it tells you like the whole world, how many coins will be out there in the whole blockchain space. Sometimes the tokens are in multi-blockchain, so you need to check on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, CryptoRank to see the supply. Some coins are infinite amount. They have infinite amount of tokens, and they will keep printing. And some have the maximum supplies, which are usually better for the long run. The other part are utilities. I list some utilities standard I usually check for, which are assets of rights. Sometimes you are just holding a coin, but actually you are not holding it because it's in your wallet, but people can manipulate the supply of the tokens. So actually the tokens you are holding might get less value or might increase value because of the smart contract and the protocol. They change the code behind your back. So the asset right is very important of the tokenomics. The second part is the governance. Do you really can vote for it, or you are just taking a tokens that is useless on chain? The other part is staking and collaborating and borrowing. A token can be very much more useful than it should be if it can be a collateral. Like Uniswap tokens. Why are Uni token special than other DeFi protocols? The DeFi protocols tokens, because lots of protocols allow Uni token to be a collateral. That's why people are willing to hold Uni token a lot more than other protocols tokens. The last part is fee reduction. This is usually used in SEX, centralized exchange, and bad token utilities are the forced adoptionary and redundant utilities, and sometimes they just make it too complicated. You need everything to use it. The other 3 part is the distribution part, security part, and demand part. Distribution part is the important part is our vesting schedule and airdrop and staking. So being as a community member, we care about how the amount of the distribution are for the airdrop members, how the amount of distribution are for the community members. Like if we do a lot of work, we provide TVL, we write Medium, we engage with protocol, we help about report, but they only airdrop like 1% to the community. That will make us feel very sad. Second part is securities. Do they have great audit? Do they have normally I just look at audits. If they have good audit, then I'll let it go. The last part is demand. Do they have a clear utility and use case? And do they innovate? Like they create more and more use cases for the tokens. Actually, Binance coin is a good coin on demand side because they constantly increase the use case of BNB tokens. Yeah.
1 second, let me share screen.
The case of tokenomics is four part, like supply, transparency, utility, and community. This is my personal guideline on step-by-step looking through tokenomics before I buy a token. Because I think it's like the most important part. The first part is just read the white paper and official document. Sometimes there is some glitch on the white paper and official document. They have different token supply or different token distribution. That is a red flag. The second part is the vesting schedule and team tokens. We try not to have hold too many tokens that team are unlocking faster than users. The third part is like private sales and seed round price, because this price is usually usually be the bottom line of the chart for token price, because they won't let the people who invest early have a long run with them for like 2 years, and they want to rob them. That's not usual. The other part is token utilities. Most tokens nowadays use for governance, staking, fee reduction. Sometimes they also use for just meme. But if it's a meme token, ignore everything. Meme tokens are, just buy it if the logo is good for you. Okay, so we will keep going. The next part is the community and governance and monetary policy and transparency. We talked about these earlier. Probably after step-by-step walkthrough here, the token price will still be affected by market analysts and price action to like even Fed. So we still can do our work, but it's not always everything. It's not always work every time. These are the common red flags in tokenomics. They are exclusive reserved for early adopters, also called as pre-mine in POW world, and for founders and team. The second card is uncapped hard cap. Usually are like tokens for GameFi tokens, like Steppen tokens, GST, or Axie Infinity. They're just infinitely printing the tokens for more users to come and play the games. The third part is guaranteed profits, like BitConnect, FOMO 3D, or guaranteed percentage of yields on just parking coins are also dangerous. Also, they don't have a clear roadmap. They don't have a clear token metrics, and that's probably it. So I will take two old coins as comparison, which are better in tokenomics, which are red flag. One is Binance Coin. They have a clear utility because you can use to reload speed. The second one is the token burns. They have a big exchange. They earn money. They burn the coins, and they keep expanding ecosystem. Although they are having more and more Binance subchain, they still can create more and more use case for Binance Coin. They have staking, farming, they have everything. Yeah. The bad use case is BitConnect, is an old coin, which sadly I did buy it in the old days because it had guaranteed profit and it still sounds so good for me in the old days. But that's why we get busted by them. They have guaranteed profit, they have lack of transparency, and it's usually the main point of a token is referral system. If a token is built on too much of referral system, then it's usually useless. This is what we call, I will just use Quang-B. If you heard a token that's called Quang-B in Chinese, that's probably mean people can mine it without hardware in games or DeFi, and that is a bad metrics for tokens because it means the inflation price will be too fast for a token. So after no one wants to keep buying it, it will collapse. This is also a famous photo from Masari. They count on all tokens. They count every chain and how their token distribute. So like Ethereum have been dominate a lot of tokens are sell in the public sale, and also Tezos, Cosmos. On the other hand, they are like Solana. They have lots of insiders, and Celo, and these are called the VC coin. VC coins are not bad actually, because they have the VCs to produce funding stuff and to help the ecosystem grow. Well, maybe the public will just dump the coin after the ICO. So, but on the other hand, if the VCs have so many power in the ecosystem, they can manipulate the news, they can manipulate lots of stuff. So people will think, wow, the ecosystem are growing, but the ecosystem usually grow 1 to 3 months before the VC unlock. Yeah, this is the tokenomics of Pyth Network. Let's look at it. Like for private sale, they only have 10% in private sale, so the majority is not in the early investor, which are the majority of their tokens, are ecosystem growth. So they put lots of effort on ecosystem growth. They have lots of tokens to distribute to like communities or maybe protocols or maybe developers or maybe all kinds of stuff. So if the token distribution are like this, it's usually a better project because you know how they spend their money on by just looking which part. Also, they unlock all the community members token on the first day, and they make the investor and early founders and even the protocol. Yeah, they take a little bit of tokens for protocol development, but they still lock a lot of them. So if we are community members, we don't need to afraid, oh, the team are going to dump us next week, because they are still locking their tokens. And because of they are still locking their tokens, you know they will still keep work hard for the protocols. Another kind of chart I would like to see is the vesting schedule. Sometimes the vesting schedule are linear, sometimes they are like steps. The steps vesting schedule have sometimes not as good as linear scale because they will suddenly have a huge token distribution. But the huge token distribution is because of ecosystem growth, which they won't usually dump it in the one day. They will unlock it on the first day and they will slowly distribute it in a certain range of time. So like there's lots of matrix you need to look at. Also, the second part is the publisher rewards. Poor publisher, they still need to wait for a few months after being publishing data for 2 years. Yeah, that's the example for analyzing tokenomics about Pyth Network. And the last part is we are a community for lots of protocol, lots of chain. We are SES community. We do AMAs and even meetup. So welcome to our Telegram and Twitter to join us and do your research before everything. Thank you. 我们用中文问问题好不好？有 tokenomics 的问题吗？ token 类的有没有买过什么垃圾币？
我想问就是，假如说有个 token， 它又可以 investing， 然后又可以 stake， 它又很多 airdrop， 那这样做呢？
有一个 token 可以 stake， 然后又有 investing，
就是刚刚那个
还有 airdrop。上一页的 token。
就是它可以 stake， 也有很多 airdrop， 那什么 variance 这一件事情？
我们要怎么 evaluate 这件事情？它可以 stake 的话，要看有多少人 stake 它嘛。越多人 stake 的话就越好嘛，代表参与的人越多嘛。然后会 airdrop 这件事情要看它会 airdrop 的程度。像如果它是一个被很多 protocol 用的 protocol， 那些用它 protocol 可能就会 airdrop 给它。就像所有在 Cosmos 链用 Cosmos SDK 的很多链都有 airdrop 给 Atom 的 stakers 一样。如果很多人都有用这一个协议的话，大家那些其他的 protocol 可能就会投给这个 stakers，的几率蛮高的嘛。
我说你要怎么评估这样子跟 compare to 其他的，也是相同类型的 coin 的话，
相同类型，
你会怎么去做一个
评估吗？
对对对，
就是看它 airdrop 的频率，还有 airdrop 的东西吧。有些会跟一些垃圾币 airdrop，那其实没有什么用。那如果它 airdrop 的都是比较新的链，然后新的项目方，然后他们有不错的背景，比如说他们深耕了很多年，然后就 airdrop 给这些用户，那我就觉得这样的 airdrop 比较有价值。就是一个项目如果愿意做很多年才做 airdrop， 那一般这个项目会很珍惜自己的币，然后这样的 airdrop 也是比较有高价值的 airdrop。你看嘛 ，Arbitrum、OP， 那如果有些项目方，第一天就开始叫大家撸积分，然后下个月就要发 airdrop， 那这种东西就不大行，因为他们项目方就只是想要 PUA 用户，然后也没有好好的就是项目方越珍惜他的币，这个币就越珍贵；项目方越不珍惜的话，那我们也不要去珍惜。还有吗？
我不会说中文，但是 what do projects get wrong the most?
What do projects get wrong the most on tokenomics? They get wrong the most on usually distributing the tokens unfairly at the first day. And they didn't give themselves enough space to arrange the tokenomics in the future.
On the first day.
Yeah. Like they should take it seriously. Not people call it to token, and they just launch a token. Like sushi shop, they launch it too fast. Yeah. They launch it because they want to do a vampire attack, not because they have a good product. Yeah, they are a good product, but not because of they want to launch a token for their product. They launch it for a vampire attack. 好，没有问题，我就换下一个人。拜拜。